Are we good? Have we started? Oh. This is the Paul Gough audio experience, business lessons for physical therapists. My name is Paul Gough, former professional soccer physical therapist turned successful business owner and best-selling author from the UK. Each week, we answer your questions and bring you an inspiring story or person from the global physical therapy community. This show is dedicated to sharing with you everything you need to know to become hugely successful in private practice. Thanks for joining me today. Now let the class begin. Of the podcast, and we are streaming live on Facebook right now, as well as LinkedIn, YouTube. Where else are we? We're all over right now. We're on Instagram, YouTube, pretty much any place that you can get your fix of social media. We are live. Type into the chat if you can see me and that you can hear me. Beth, do you want to make sure that's shared on my personal page as well? I think that would be super helpful. If you want to come on and say hello, type into the chat who you are, where you're from, and let us know a little bit about who you are. So yeah, we're going to talk about the book, brand new-ish, Leadership in Private Practice for the next couple of podcast episodes. We're going to do an author review, if you like. We're going to look at my thoughts behind specific chapters in the book that kind of makes sense for us to start with chapter number 1. So if you haven't got the book yet, it's called Leadership in Private Practice: How to Become a World-Class Leader and CEO of a Successful Private Practice. Thank you to everybody so far who has contributed to the, I think now north of 3,000 copies of the book sold since December last year when we got it to number 1. And well done for you for making that next step to becoming a leader, if you like, in your practice and in your business. So leadership, what is it? What is it all about? Well, I got an inside lesson into leadership from Kevin O'Leary last weekend. We did a mastermind event with Kevin, who came on and spoke to us about what leadership's about and what being a CEO of a company really is, and the requirements and the abilities, if you like, and skill sets required in order to be a successful leader of people, which is ultimately what we're talking about when it comes to leadership, particularly in private practice. And in the book, I talk about the idea that there are and definitely different views and different versions of leadership that are out there. And there's actually even a different view of leadership, whether you are leadership in life or leadership in business. And the skills required to be a leader in life are very different from those skills required to be a leader in a private practice. And yet the two can be interwoven. So I think the first thing to understand about leadership under the banner of chapter 1, could everything that you've ever been taught about leadership be wrong? Could it be wrong? We're asking the question. I think the idea that leadership in life and leadership in business are the same thing is the thing that is wrong. And as you dive deeper into running a private practice, what you find is that say hello, by the way, if you're in Facebook, type into the chat, let me know that I can see you, and I'm happy to answer your questions as this goes on. Lindsay and anybody else watching, share this out for me if you could. It would be wonderful to talk to more people live while I'm on Facebook. The idea is that as you run your practice, in the beginning, leadership is about two things. Can you get more from the people that you've got? Can you get an extra 20% from them that they don't know that they're capable of? So what that means is, on their own and on my own, so I'll use me, I'll speak in my person, I'm capable of achieving something on my own. But if I get around a good leader, I get a good mentor, I get a good coach, I get somebody that acts as a leader in my life, that person is able to bring me to a level that I couldn't achieve on my own. That person is able to bring me up to a level that is usually around about an extra 10, 15, 20% worth of additional output or improvement, success, if you like, achievement, if you like, in my life, because that person exists. And that's what all great leaders have to be able to do. Now, the second thing that great leaders do, as I discuss in the book, is they are able to make uncertain situations appear certain. And never more important that skill has been than through the last 12 months. We are literally, is it now 12 months or just over 12 months in a day to the day that the borders got closed and pretty much the whole world started to close down. That period of time required people to be certain, and it was almost impossible to be certain in the situation. And yet a leader of a business, a leader of a family had to find that ability to be certain, even if it's the certainty that they don't know what the hell is going to happen, and being comfortable and okay with that. And I think as a leader or as a business leader, what ultimately we have to have is both of those qualities. Now, deeper into the book and perhaps deeper into this podcast, I'll talk to you more about what those roles, requirements, and skills are if you want to make the transition from business leadership, or sorry, from life leadership into business leadership. And something else that I think is misunderstood about leadership is that leaders have to have all the answers. I think as a business leader, it's so easy to think that you right now are in a position where you need to have everything right before you can start telling other people what you want them to do or asking them to do certain things. It's as if you have to have your SHIT together and fully in order, your ducks all lined up, your eggs all in the basket, perfectly aligned. And when you get that, then you can actually start leading people. And I think that's something that many business owners struggle with, that they don't quite understand actually that the journey that you're going on as a leader is one of never-ending personal development and growth. And through your business, you get actually chance to find out where the resistance points are, the things that you're not good at right now that you can put right, because business and the path that you're on identified those weaknesses and gave you an opportunity to fix them. And for many people, they are stifled by the idea of being a leader because of that point, that they're not comfortable that somebody might look at them and say, hey, you don't have your stuff together. You don't have this all figured out. I'm very sure that many employees will look at me and think I'm good at some things, but I ain't so good at some other things. And that's absolutely fine. That's the deal. That's the way it's going to be. Equally, as a father, I'm probably good at a few things and I'm not so good at some other things in my kids' eyes at the other end. And that's all right. That's the journey that I'm on. That's the challenge, if you like. And I think what your life's purpose really is or your life's purpose often gets revealed through the pursuit of these things. It isn't actually to acquire anything. It isn't actually to get something. And it isn't actually to be anybody. It's who you are becoming along the way. And that's the phrase that I've now kind of had and clung to for years. That it's not about acquiring a set amount of wealth or businesses or houses or cars. It's actually going through business as a vehicle or on a vehicle that's likely to put me in situations that I get to learn about who I am, both as a person and as a leader of a company. And every time I hit a new sticking point, every time I hit a new resistance point, every time I hit a new area in my life that I'm not as comfortable with as I am other areas of my life, I realized that's what business did. That's what being a father did. It took me into places that I wouldn't have got there had it not been for the vehicle called business. And therefore, really, the purpose gets revealed through that pursuit, if you like. And I don't think you'll ever know truly what your purpose is until you start to look back and you realize that the purpose was the journey, and it was revealed because of the journey and because of the challenges and because of the amount of crap that life chucked at you. You got to actually realize who you were, how strong you are, how good you are, how confident you are, how certain you are, even when you're uncertain. Any time that you make a decision and you don't have all the facts, you've got to be a certain type of guy or a certain type of gal. And I think that's what really business leadership and life leadership is about, that we can make decisions, we can make judgments, and we're confident enough to be able to do it without all of the facts. But ultimately, we're able to trust ourselves. And once we get to the point in having a team, we're able to trust the judgment that we've got of having built the team, that we will be able to fix the problems as they arrive. And if the team aren't capable of doing it, then we're strong enough to realize that we've made a mistake. I've hired a couple of people that I shouldn't have done. I thought they had a certain character. I thought they had a certain way of dealing with situations. and I got that wrong. I'll dust myself down, I'll learn my lessons, I'll improve my recruitment process, and I'll go about building a team and a culture that is something to be proud of and worthy of taking me to the next step. So as you start to consider your own leadership styles and your own leadership views, if you like, that is something that we or I write about quite heavily in chapter 1. Whether or not you need to be a better leader or a better CEO. I don't think you can be a great CEO unless you're a great life leader. So unless you have the confidence to be certain when everyone else is uncertain, and unless you have the ability to get 10 or 20% more out of people than can on their own, you'll always struggle. And sadly, that is the hallmark of most companies, that most of the employees quite simply underachieve. They underachieve because they're allowed into an area or an environment or a culture that allows underachievement to be the mode, or the default mode of the business. And I think when the business owner wakes up to that actually these people are capable of so much more. And if you do believe in human potential and the idea that people are capable of achieving great things, then it starts to alert you to the fact that that is your job as the business owner, to find that, hone it, create the environment, create the culture, light a fire under people's butts, figuratively, and let the whole thing go off to the moon, basically. And that is ultimately what business, this whole concept of business leadership actually is. You'll never know what's coming next as a business owner. And that's the thing that I hope people take from chapter 1 of the book, that you will never, ever know with certainty what's coming. You'll make judgments and you'll make distinctions and you'll acquire data and experience and knowledge over the time that you're in business. But all you're doing all the time is gathering intelligence, and you're only ever really able to look in the rear mirror to kind of take what you have been through and learned and what life has chucked at you, in order to be able to say, hey, I recognize this situation before. I get it, only through experience I can figure out who a good employee is very quickly versus a bad one. And by the way, there will be periods of time where you get employees that are with you for 2 years. You think a certain way about them, and then at the end you realize they're actually a scumbag, and kind of were doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. And that only happens with experience and with time. And you'll probably still make that mistake again, but it should never scare you from recruiting people, because like I say, it's part of the journey, if you like, that you go on as a business leader. So I'd love you to get the book, and if you are interested in becoming a better leader, that is the first thing that we have to kind of factor in. And I talk about the idea that people rule themselves out from being good leaders because they think they don't have the right personality. We've all been duped into thinking that a leader is a charismatic, strong, confident, powerful speech maker. President Obama, Trump type person, big, strong, authoritative, like looks like a leader. Obama speaks well, talks well, is inspiring. We've all been duped by the movies, Independence Day and Apollo 13 and so on, into seeing the classic address from the president, who comes across with a super inspiring speech that we all think we're not actually going to be capable of giving. Truth is, we don't need to do that. We don't need to be a big, strong, charismatic extrovert. A number of people say, I'm an introvert, Paul. I'm not going to be very good at leading people. There are equally as many, if not more, introverts, people that don't have the ability to give an inspiring or rousing speech, that are able to lead and manage people very, very successfully, because they bring other things to the table, as I talk about in the book. There are things that you can control when it comes to your leadership style and development as a leader. Things like your standards that people can look up to, your work ethic that people can look up to, your vision that people are in awe of, your commitment, your desire, the habits that you've got that you ingrain into the company. And because you're so certain in yourself and your own habits, that actually oozes a layer of confidence that other people want to hang around with and get from you, while they're in or around you as a potential team member. So every time you think about your business right now, if you've got staff, if you've got people, you're trying to grow a company, you're trying to step back from patient care, that a lot of you are, as you know, the people that follow my work. Never forget this, that ultimately that's really the first step that you've got to make. And in the book, you can get it at paulgoughbooks.com or on Amazon, whichever. We can talk more about that, and do talk more about that. That ultimately, it's figuring out in your own head which part of the leadership process do we need to improve upon. Is it the leadership in life and getting more certain in uncertain situations? Is it being able to develop your team more and getting leverage and ultimately growing a business through other people's time? Or is it that we need to focus on the set of specific skills and tasks that a business leader has to have in order to be able to grow a successful company? So all of that is in the book. Chapter 1, that's my initial overview, summary, if you like, on what it takes to get started in becoming the best CEO that you can be for your practice. So there we go. Quick oversight. Hopefully, I've given you one or two little principles. You're on a wonderful journey as a business leader. You will never have your shit together. You will never be the perfect finished leader. By definition of leadership, you are always growing and you're always bringing people up with you because of your commitment to growth and learning and hitting obstacles head on. And because of that, you are by definition living the life of a leader, that we're willing to do things even though I don't have it all figured out. That takes real courage, real conviction, real commitment. And I think it's just finding that within you, that most people have it anyway. They just think somehow the feeling that they get about being uncertain is wrong, that it's a sign that they don't have all the answers. It's a sign that they're not ready to be a leader. Actually, it's a sign that you are looking for an answer. And when you found it, you're able to step up. You're able to, be that better leader, be that better business owner, team member, whatever definition of this that you take at it. And it is a big thing for business owners in private practice, because you're so used to having all the answers when it comes to your clinical skills. You're so used to being able to help a team member actually fix a patient or come up with a diagnosis or be on hand to learn or share lessons, that when you start running a business, it actually spooks you a little that you might not have all the answers to the cultural problems or to the cash flow problems or to the sales script or to the marketing message problem or whatever. And so you retreat and you shy away and you don't lean into the problem. You don't, go at it 100 miles an hour. You don't learn. And because of that, growth stifles. And when the personal growth of the business owner stifles, so too the growth of the business. Always and forever. Personal growth must exceed business. Or if you want your business to develop, then you have to develop yourself. Business growth will never exceed personal growth and your commitment to it. And as I've been told many times, the business owner or the business very rarely lets the business owner down, but the business owner nearly always lets the business down. The needs and the requirements and the demands of a business are very tough, and with it, you must be prepared to have the bullets in the armory, if you like, to go into to battle. One of the favorite or best books I read in 2020 was Phil Knight of Nike, as they say in the US, Nike if you're in the UK. It's called Shoe Dog. I highly recommend it, and it's in it he talks about business being a war without bullets. And God, is that so true? It is the greatest way to sum up business. It is a war without bullets, that every day you're in a battle, whether it's with vendors, insurance companies, competitors, team, sometimes yourself, your family, your friends. Like you're constantly in a battle with without bullets. Basically, it's a silent war that often sadly for many business owners, they don't make it out to the other end, or if they do, they would have been better off getting shot in the head a few years before and just put the whole damn thing to rest. Forgive my candidness, but for many businesses, that's often the struggle really isn't worth the effort. But why is it struggle? Nearly always because they're not investing in their business skills, they're not upskilling, they're not raising their level of thinking, they're not investing in their business skills. and they're doing the same day after day after day. As I've heard it said, 1 year in business 20 times. So yeah, get the book, paulgoughbooks.com. You can get all of my books there, paulgoughbooks.com. Check out the brand new leadership book, and then let me know what you think. You can leave me a review. I do and will check out the reviews to see what you're thinking about the book. And you can get in touch with me on Facebook or Instagram. Tell us that you have read the book, what you think about it, and ultimately how it has affected you positively, I hope. So there we go. That's a quick overview of chapter 1. Could everything you've ever been taught about leadership be wrong? Chapter 2, we talk about what is the difference between a manager and a leader. Big question that people have is Paul, what's the difference between a manager and a leader? And it is a question that I answer for you starting on page 43 of the book. I'll pick it up, my summary of the chapter, in the next episode of the podcast. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to the email list, paulgough.com. Head over there for all of the action. We have amazing things happening in this community that continues to grow bigger. We've got the launch of the Planet Paul Marketing Academy coming up. We've got the new growth workshop happening at the end of April, one day dedicated to helping you grow your business. Get in touch if you are interested in that. We continue to grow the team. The physio business is flying. Google and Facebook and everything online continue to be the place that I'm so glad that I started to invest my marketing money into pre-Christmas, even through lockdown, because it's really coming to fruition. So yeah, get in touch with us. Great to have you listening, but it would be wonderful to have you in the prime time events, programs, classes, and courses that we've got for you. We put them on for you. We're trying to help. We're trying to make you rich. We're trying to help you grow this business. We're trying to help you live a more active, more healthy business life, if you like. Please don't resist for too long. Anyway, that's it for now. I will be back with another podcast next week. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. paulgoughbooks.com to get your copy of the Leadership in Private Practice book. It is 300 pages. It's a Bible for leadership on how to build a successful business from 15 years of heartache, all poured into. It's my equivalent of what's it called? 50 Shades of Grey. It's my equivalent of 50 Shades of Grey. You can get it and let me know what you think. So again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching wherever you are, and I will see you on the next episode.